All right, here is the HafTorah for this week's. See, I think, no, it doesn't. It starts over here. Oh. Okay. This is the HafTorah that we're going to read. I just hope that some of the words are a little bit difficult over here, but we'll do our best. Ready? Yeah. Haboim Yashresh Yaakov, those who went into Egypt. Now, some people say this is talking about the future redemption. The ones who come to the future redemption will take root with Yaakov. We talked about this in the mimer that we learned in the morning. Yatzitz v'perach Israel, they will blossom and grow. The Jewish people will blossom and grow. One moment here. Oh, okay. Huh? Yeah. All right. Yes. Okay, here he translates it. The days are coming. The days are coming. So he translates it in this. I have the translation also. It's talking about the future redemption. The days are coming. The days are coming when Yaakov, the Jewish people, will take root and they will blossom and be fruitful, and they will fill the world with. They will fill the world with produce. And fruit, the whole world. Okay, now God is speaking, Isaiah is speaking to the Gentiles, the enemies of the Jews. He said, like I have smitten you, did I smite the Jews? Did I smite the Jews like I smote you? Did I kill the Jews like I have killed you? In the measure that the measure of sin, I have taken like revenge on their farms, the non-Jews. I have sent to them a harsh wind, and from the east. Therefore, this is how the Jews will forgive their sins, and they will take away all of their transgressions. They'll take away the transgressions. This is the fruit of the removal of their transgressions. When they take all of the altars of idolatrous altars and they grind them up and spread them around, and there won't be any more. They used to make these trees called Asherah that they would bow down to, and there were also some sort of sun gods that the Jews would worship. When there won't be any more of these. Ki ir b'tzuro badad, because when the Jews return, then the fortified cities of the Gentiles, of their enemies, will be barren. V'nava mishulach v'neza b'midbar, and their what is it? Beautiful cities and what is it? Habitations. The habitations will be left like a desert. Cattle will graze there, and they will, I say, lay down for pasture, and they will eat the produce that grows, the produce that there's. In other words, the non-Jews will be the enemies of the Jews. their big cities and their certainty and their fortresses will all be destroyed. It says, Biyavish Ketzira Tesharvena, that their trees will dry up and women will come and use it for firewood because they have no understanding. And therefore, they won't deserve any mercy. God will not show, their creator won't show any mercy to them. In other words, the non-Jews had to realize that the only reason that they were great was because God made them great. And so they can't fight against the Jews, that they're God's people. And so therefore, I'll have no mercy on them whatsoever. And that day, on that day, let me just see where the HafTorah goes up to. 1 second. Excuse me. This goes up to where? 13. Oh, okay. So on that day, God will like thresh. He will thresh the river, including the river of Egypt, with the power of Egypt was their river, that was their God. Then you, Jewish people, to look to echad echad, you'll be gathered together one at a time, Bnei Israel, the Jewish people. And it will be on that day, Yitaka b'shofar gadol, there will be sounded a great shofar, and the lost people in the land of Assyria, and the people who are Jews that are lost in the land of Assyria. Ashur also means richness. So there's Jews that are lost in like America and those places where Jews leave Judaism from plenty. There's so much plenty that there's no reason to believe in God. And I'm doing okay without believing in God. But what the purpose of Judaism is not to be rich or anything. It's a good, nice thing to be rich, but richness can blind a person's eyes. That's the land of Ashur, America, England, these places. And also there's Jews, like in Russia. Millions and millions of Jews live in Russia that they don't even know they're Jews because it was Mitzrayim. It was like a dark, narrow place as far as Judaism was concerned. And that day, a big shofar will be sounded, and the lost people in the land of richness and the people that are lost, cast away in the land of spiritual poverty will all bow down to God in the holy mountain in Jerusalem. Okay, that's about half of the. All right, now this is a prophecy to the Jews that were in Israel. I remember we talked about this before, that immediately as soon as King Solomon died, as his son Rehoboam was not such a good leader, and 10 of the tribes separated. This was with the blessing of a prophet, Achi Ashiloni, and he told a very great man called Yerovam ben Nevat that he should take over the rulership. And as soon as he did take over the rulership, he went berserk and he started building idols, and he told everybody they could do whatever they wanted to. Of course, needless to say, it was very popular. But this whole spirit of rebellion was the whole 250 years of these 10 tribes. The 10 tribes of what's called Israel, until finally there came a king, Shalmaneser or whatever, and he took them all into. That's the 10 tribes, the lost 10 tribes. So here we have Isaiah, who he is he's right in the middle of the second temple. First temple, I'm sorry, he's in the middle of the first temple. Shortly before these tribes are going to be taken into captivity, he said, "Whoa, a crown of egotism is the drunkards of Ephraim." Ephraim was the name of the 10 tribes because Yerovam ben Nevat came from Ephraim. V'tzitz novel, it is like a blossom that is fading, withering. Svi tifarto is his glory. Asher al reish geish manim, that on his head it's like a whole valley of oil. Al-Halam Yain are people that have broken their heads and things because of being drunk. But a person gets drunk and he smashes his head into something, all the oil and medicine is not going to help him. Hine chazak v'ametz l'Adonai. Behold, God is a strong, powerful wind, kazirim barad, and hail. Kazirim mayim kavirim, like a flood waters that are going to wash everything away. Hiniach la'oretz biyad, that he'll take this crown of yours and he'll put it down with his hand. He'll cast it down to the ground. You'll be treading upon with feet. Your egotism will be your crown of glory, whatever crown of glory will be treading upon, and you drunkards of Ephraim will be your withering blossoms. Tzitz tiferet, which is like a shining glory on your head, will be like a valley of which is like a precious oil on his head. It will be like a fig that ripens in the summer, and people, whoever happens to see it, right? Ba'odo b'chapo yivlena, he'll swallow it. But sometimes there's a fig tree, and there's one or two figs that ripen early, and the passersby grab them and eat them. Same thing with you, Ephraim. You've been given tremendous success. Your success came in a very miraculous way, but very soon I'm going to pluck it off, and it's going to all be eaten. And on that day, God will be the God of hosts. He will be a crown of glory, and like a precious stone for his people. Ruach mishpat, and it'll be a spirit of judgment for one who sits in judgment. Just one moment, I want to see what this goes up to. This goes up to 1 minute. Oh, excuse me. One minute. Yes. Okay, good. Okay. V'leruach mishpat, and a spirit of judgment, a spirit of judgment for a spirit of judgment, ruach mishpat, to those who sit in judgment, and power for those who go forth to war. And on that day, the future day of the future redemption, God will fortify justice and righteousness and victory. But also these have also made a mistake. This is now talking about the lower two tribes of Yehuda and Benjamin. Yes. Now he's talking about Yehuda and Benjamin. He says, okay, now I'm going to be finished with the 10 tribes. They really were bad news. But the fact of the matter is, you're not much better. You're also getting drunk and making mistakes. The Kohen, your priests, and your prophets have become inebriated with wine, and they're making mistakes from their liquor. They have strayed in their seeing, and they have done bad sins. Kikol shulchanot, because all of their tables are filled with vomit, filth, and no clean place. Some people say b'li makom means without God. In other words, the Jews in the southern part, even though it was better, but it still is it has a lot to be fixed up. Who is going to teach knowledge? Who can explain a message? Et mi yavin shmua gomul. Who will do? Who only may Mevin shmua gomuli mechalov. Only children that have just now finished weaning from their mother's breast and removed from their mother's breasts. In other words, the Jewish people, the only ones that are wholesome enough to really understand will be the children. Ki kav lakav, ki tzav latzav, tzav latzav, because one commandment and then another, and then a commandment, one commandment at a time, commandment by commandment, commandment by commandment, kav lakav, like line by line, line by line, a little bit here and a little bit there, right? Ki tzav latzav, tzav latzav, kav lakav, kav lakav, zirsham, a little bit here, a little bit there. What's he saying? The Jewish people are on such a low level now that I have patience. I'll teach them little by little, says God. Like a builder, when he builds up a wall, so he puts bricks, so he has this line that he takes a string so that it'll be straight. So he has to move the string each and every time. That's the same thing with the Jewish people to build, because key balagay safa, because with this confused language and some other language, you have to speak to this nation that God says, this is my place. Right? This is the true rest. Have mercy on the poor people. And this is my true satisfaction. Give charity, the law of all, but they don't want to listen. What in fact happened? The word of God, they left my words, kav lakav, tzav latzav, commandment by commandment, tzav latzav, commandment by commandment, kav lakav, one line after another, one line after another, a little bit here and a little bit here, laman yilchu v'kashlu, because by little, they stumbled backwards and they became broken. V'nokshu v'nilkadu, and they became tripped up and they became caught. Therefore, 1 minute, there it is. 1 minute, did I go too far? Yes, no, excuse me. 1 minute, excuse me. Yes, okay. Now we go to chapter 29, sentence 22. Now it gets good. Therefore, so says God to the house of Jacob that redeemed Avram. In other words, the house of Jacob, the Jewish people, lo ata yavush Yaakov. Jacob, you don't have to be ashamed. Now, Abraham, he was like perfect. And who would dream that the children of Jacob would come out to be so terrible, right? So terrible. It would be an embarrassment to Jacob in front of Abraham, his grandfather. Jacob can't say, hey, look at my children. Abraham will say, well, these are terrible. So he says, don't worry, Yaakov, you've got nothing to be embarrassed about. And your face should not be fallen or whatever, pale. Because when your children see my handiwork, that they will sanctify my name. They will sanctify my name. And they will make holy the holiness of Jacob. And the God of Israel, they will praise. And those people who are mistaken, yeah, is this right? Yes. No, that's it. Yaritzu, there it is, that's it. And the God of Israel, they will praise. And what's he saying? He's saying, the prophet is saying to the Jews, this is before the destruction of the first temple, right? So he's saying, listen, God is really not so happy with you. The 10 tribes, they're finished. There's just no way that, that they're going to be fixed up. The lower 2 tribes, maybe you have a chance that you can fix your way up, but I see that they're also stumbling. But you should know that in the end, in the days of the Moshiach, which, I mean, how did Isaiah know at this time that it was going to be talking about another 2,000 years, 2,500 years, something like that? He said, don't worry, the days of the Mashiach, everyone is going to be gathered together, all the Jewish people. And Abraham and Jacob will be proud of their offspring. Even those people who make mistakes, they'll all come back to the true creator of the universe. Everyone will praise the God of Israel. That's this week's Torah portion. A little bit choppy, but that's the translation. The language of Isaiah is very, eloquent Hebrew. And a lot of times he makes allegories to things, and then he'll change immediately afterwards because the allegory really contains in it everything that he has to say. So the language is very terse. It's very, very compact. Okay, everyone, have a good Shabbos with Mashiach. Now, tomorrow at 8:15, God willing, Friday, we are going to finish the Devar Malchut that we started this week. Shalom, uvracha to everybody. Blessings.
Bolton, how are you?
Thank God. How are you, Davi?
Baruch Hashem, you should know that I enjoy your class.